Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're doing something a little different. We are completely rewiring how we understand ancient texts. If you've ever read translated wisdom and felt like, I don't know, it was just dry or heavily academic, well, you're definitely not alone. Today, we're going to act as linguistic detectives. First, as strict Pali translators using standard dictionary definitions, but then we're going to completely bypass those modern dictionaries and step into the shoes of ancient Magadhi Prakrit experts. Using the ancient linguistic insights of the Pati Samhita, specifically Niruti, the analysis of root language, we are going to uncover the raw, highly visual intent behind these teachings.
Have you ever wondered, what if these standard translations we rely on, the ones from the Polytext Society and the DP Dictionary, what if they're actually blinding us to the truth? It sounds crazy, but over millennia, words literally lose their power. They get flattened out by scholars into this really abstract philosophical jargon. But the people who originally spoke these words, specifically in the ancient Magadhi dialect during the Buddhist time, they didn't speak in abstract concepts. They spoke in intensely vivid physical metaphors. And that is exactly what we are going to reconstruct today.
To pull this off, we're going to use a really unique double translation process. Step 1, we look at the strict modern lexical translations first, your standard dictionary stuff. But then, step 2, we shatter those definitions. We apply the Neti's concept of atta, or intent, alongside Niruti, drilling down into the ancient Magadhi roots to find their true meaning. Finally, step 3, we put on our modern visual storyteller hats. We're going to take those deep roots and translate them into bright, high-saturation, concrete physical objects. Think of it like taking a faded, dusty, black and white academic photograph and upgrading it into a brilliant, full-color 4K reality.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1. Words deeper than dictionaries. Decoding Itivuttaka 42. So this first text deals with two incredibly mysterious forces that are supposedly the foundational protectors of our entire world. It introduces two Pali words, hiri and ottappa. The text actually calls them sukha dhamma, which translates beautifully to bright states. And it declares that these two bright states are the exact things that protect the world from total moral and societal collapse. But of course, the big question is, what exactly are they?
Well, if we look at our Step 1 translation, modern dictionaries define hiri and ottappa as moral shame and moral dread. I mean, yikes, right? That sounds like a strict Victorian schoolmaster scolding you. It's heavy, it's oppressive. But when we move to Step 2 and apply Niruti to find that ancient Magadhi root intent, these words completely transform into active, luminous tools. Hiri is actually an internal sense of self-respect. It's an internal glowing compass. And ottappa is an acute awareness of external consequences, a bright warning beacon.
Now for Step 3, let's visualize this. I want you to replace those abstract feelings of shame and dread with incredibly concrete, brightly colored objects. Literally, imagine a glowing golden compass situated right inside your chest, constantly orienting you toward what is inherently right and healthy. Now, pair that with a bright flashing red beacon on the horizon, actively warning you away from danger and toxicity. See, they aren't punishments at all. They are highly saturated, physical navigation tools that guide and protect us every single day.
And the ancient text makes it crystal clear why these glowing tools are so absolutely crucial. Itivuttaka 42 gives this really stark, uncompromising warning. It says that if humanity were to lose these two bright states, like if our internal compass shattered and our external beacon just went completely dark, society wouldn't just become, slightly impolite. It would descend entirely into animalistic chaos, where boundaries vanish and we act no differently than goats, sheep, pigs, and dogs. It's a very visceral reminder of just how fragile civilization really is.
Now, what's really interesting is how this next text completely redefines our physical reality. Section 2, Escaping the Conditioned Trap, Decoding Itivuttaka 43. Here, we meet the word asankata. This is presented as the ultimate goal. In the text, this state is actually defined by what it is not. It is ajata, meaning unborn. It is abhuta, unbecome. And it is akata, unmade. Essentially, it's this ultimate pristine reality that exists completely beyond the wear and tear of our everyday lives. If we look at the dictionaries, they typically translate asankata super dryly as the unconditioned. But looking through the lens of Niruti, the prefix sankata implies something that has been artificially fabricated, constructed, or patched together. So asankata is the total escape from all of that. It is the ultimate unconstructed reality. It literally means stepping out of a fragile, manufactured matrix into something utterly, permanently solid.
To visualize this, the ancient text actually refers to our normal, conditioned life as a nest of disease. So think of a decaying, super fragile bird's nest woven together from twigs and mud, ready to just blow apart in the slightest wind. That is the constructed reality. Escaping to the unconstructed reality is like discovering an indestructible, brightly glowing diamond. It doesn't rot, it doesn't break, it just brilliantly, constantly shines.
Which brings us to a deeply empowering quote from the text. It reads, "Because there is an unborn, an unbecome, an unmade, an unconditioned, an escape from the born, the become, the made, the conditioned is known." The intent here is so profound. It's essentially saying, hey, because this indestructible diamond reality actually exists, we are not doomed to stay in the fragile, decaying nest. A true, permanent escape is physically possible.
Let's move along and see how this builds. Section 3. 3 Elements of Reality. Decoding Itivuttaka 51.
This final text maps out the actual layers of our existence using 3 distinct elements. First, you have the rupa dhatu, the form element. Imagine dense, heavy, brightly colored physical building blocks. Second is the arupa dhatu, the formless element. Imagine those heavy blocks turning into light, airy, translucent blocks. Still constructed, sure, but much finer. Finally, there is the nirodhatha dhatu, the cessation element. This is where the blocks don't just get lighter, they completely dissolve into pure, vivid, formless light.
Now that third element, nirodha, is heavily misunderstood. Academic dictionaries translate it as extinction, which honestly sounds like you're just flipping off a switch into total nothingness. But through the framework of attasata and linguistic niruti, the root intent isn't disappearing at all. It's a liberating release. It's a complete unplugging. You literally unplug yourself from those heavy constructed blocks of existence and plug directly into that deathless diamond reality we were just talking about.
And look at how physical this is. The text explicitly says experiencing the deathless element with the body, a state without sorrow or dust. This is not just some mental exercise. It's not a neat philosophical concept that just ponder over a cup of coffee. The ancient Magadhi intent is entirely tangible. It is about physically touching that ultimate pristine reality, a state entirely free of the dust and friction of our constructed world.
So the crucial point is, how do we tie this all together? Section 4, the ultimate concrete escape. Putting the visual translation together.
Let's summarize these vivid takeaways. First, we aren't burdened by academic shame and dread. Instead, we are guided daily by an internal golden compass and a bright external beacon. That's hiri and ottappa. Second, we aren't aiming for some blank void. We are aiming for the asankata, the indestructible, unconstructed diamond reality. And finally, nirodha isn't a depressing extinction. It's the active unplugging of the fragile, decaying blocks of existence so we can touch the deathless.
By changing our lens and finding the Magadhi intent, we completely change the landscape of ancient wisdom. It transforms from dead words on a page into a vibrant, living, breathing visual guide. So I'll leave you with this provocative thought. If such brilliant, powerful, and concrete meaning was hidden behind just these 3 translations, what other ancient, visceral truths are hiding in plain sight, just waiting for us to strip away the academic dust? Keep questioning, keep visualizing, and as always, keep learning.